Okay, in this video we're going to introduce you to some beginner jazz chords. So Jack, take us away. The building blocks, as I see it, of getting started with jazz is learning some jazz chords. We call them jazz chords, but they're just chords that are used commonly in jazz. So take us through it, mate.
So I think the main thing that, at least for this lesson, what I wanted to try and get across was that, like, you don't have to learn big, complicated chords to even get started with jazz. So actually, a lot of these chords that I'm going to show you through are actually similar to the ones, like the stepping stone chords that you usually use.
Yes.
So a lot of the time with those chords and stuff like that, you'd end up playing stuff like major 7 chords, minor 7s, and maybe dominant 7 chords.
Yes.
Well, it just so happens they're all the chords that tend to be used for jazz stuff. Right. So there's loads of different options that you can use in the open position just to get started.
Perfect. So what I was just going to say is, just for anyone who's coming to this who might be like a real beginner, like some of these chords kind of sound kind of scary, like dominant 7 chords, but they're actually super simple chord shapes.
Absolutely,
and I think they sound gorgeous as well.
Yeah.
Like, considering, I think it's because when we play them in the open position, there are actually a lot of open strings.
Yeah.
So you get that nice, loose, kind of spacious vibe.
Yeah, it's more vibrant, isn't it? You get more of the character of the guitar, especially with an acoustic instrument as well.
I agree. All right, mate. So what should we look at? Should we look at something like, I don't know, C major 7 to begin with?
So here's that chord for you then. So it sounds a little bit like this.
Gorgeous chord.
Yeah, really lovely, isn't it?
It really is. Super easy to play, 2 fingers, but creates that big, dreamy kind of jazzy, relaxing feel.
Yeah. So maybe if we stick on major 7 chords for now, because they're kind of like the same family of chords, really.
Yes.
So another major 7 chord that you can find in the open position is A major 7. I often like to think it kind of looks like a triangle, if that helps you remember it.
Yes.
So you can hear it's got the same character as... still quite dreamy, quite spacious, but it's in a different key. That's the difference there. And then the last one is like a D major 7, which is just this chord.
It's so relaxing. It's like on of a nap.
So even if you didn't want to maybe jump into learning on a full-on jazz song, you could pick maybe 2 of those chords and put them together. So like 2 ones which will work really well together is C to D. So like,
it instantly creates a mood, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They're very. I always think with major 7s, I think it's because they've got that extra note in there versus like a standard major amount.
Yeah.
It's there's more to it. You know, there's more there. It's a more complex and interesting chord, isn't it? Because there's more stuff going on inside the chord. Just
so you guys can hear the difference, maybe I'll just play a standard C major chord, which is like this. And here's a major 7 chord. So you hear the difference straight away, don't you? It's got so much more character, I find.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I absolutely love those major 7 chords. And just so, like, correct me if I'm wrong here, Jack, but like, in my mind, if you're thinking about times when you can use those chords, or like when you can, sort of switch over to exploring these chords, basically, whenever you would have a standard major chord, you could substitute it for a major 7 in most scenarios.
Most scenarios, I think you have to kind of use your ears to see what works for you. I think that's the important thing. When I was getting started with a lot of this stuff, like, I didn't really learn even what like specific major 7 chords were in the keys, whatever, until I was studying like academically. So for me, I would use that method, right? So it'd be like, is there a major chord here? Okay, cool. Let's see if I can use a major 7 one. If that didn't work, I'd try a dominant 7 instead. So maybe that leads us nicely onto those other chords.
Yes, mate. Perfect. Take us through. So we looked at the major 7s. We're now going to look at the dominant 7s, and then we're going to finish up looking at the minor 7s. All right, cool. Let's move on to the dominant 7s.
Cool. So here's an E7. So I find the dominant 7 chord has more of a bluesy and I guess strident type feel to it.
It definitely leans to me. As soon as I hear a 7 chord, like that dominant 7, I know they're not exclusively used in blues by any means.
Yeah.
But it always pulls me there.
Yeah, you always want to go. You want to do that, don't you?
It takes me there whenever I hear an E7 chord. It just takes me there. So those chords to me, like generally in isolation from other jazz chords, the dominant 7 chords to me, I always think of them as being quite powerful, expressive chords. You know, like you notice a dominant 7 chord, don't you? Yeah. But what's interesting is that when they're not being used in like a blues setting or a rock setting, they can actually sound amazingly, I don't know what the word is, but like you get it a lot in sort of like big band tunes and like songs from musicals where they have these beautiful long chord progressions that are really detailed and articulate, and you find dominant 7s in them all the time, you know, like, so they're absolutely not blues chords, are they?
No. They're often used as a kind of like, as a source of tension.
Yeah.
Because without getting too heavy on theory, like the middle 2 notes, it's quite tense.
It sounds kind of,
So there's a little bit of tension in there, which is often used to release to get to another place in a chord progression or something like that.
But they sit very nicely as a counterpoint, don't they, to those dreamy, loose, relaxing major 7s. Then you bring in a dominant 7 chord, which is much sharper to me.
Yeah.
And that's what gives you that dynamic range, I think, in a chord progression.
Yeah, definitely.
You're moving between those different chord shapes.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at... So by the way, guys, anytime... Like, we're saying dominant 7 here, just to differentiate between the major 7 and the minor 7. But most of the times, in my experience, most people don't say dominant 7. They would call E dominant 7. Most people would just call that E7. So if you hear somebody say A7, B7, C7, the sort of full name of that chord would be like E dominant 7 or C dominant 7. But generally, we tend not to use that. Would you say that, Jack? I would say like most guitarists I know would just call it an E7.
Yeah, usually it's either an
Except
E7.
when you're talking sort of about theory, when you want to be a bit more precise.
You
tend to say dominant 7.
Yeah, some people I know have like referred to it as like if it was an E7, they'd either put E7 or E dom 7. They'll shorten the dominant, or E dominant 7.
Yeah.
But I only ever use that really to kind of like communicate with a student or something to say like,
just to make it really
this
clear.
Is that chord and they're different type thing. But with major 7, sometimes you'll see them written as, it'll say full on M-A-J-O-R, or it'll say M-A-J. And sometimes you also see it written with a triangle. So like the C major 7, it might say C triangle 7.
Or sometimes I've seen it written as just a capital M.
Yes.
It's just kind of weird, but you see that sometimes, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so, sorry mate, I distracted you. We were looking at dominant 7, so we looked at the E dominant 7.
Yeah.
Let's look at some others in the open position.
So you've got A7 as well. And then D7.
Nice.
And then you've got, this is my favourite one, it's really easy to do actually, it's just a G7.
Oh nice, yeah.
So like...
I wouldn't normally play it that way.
Yeah, I missed it out before, but you can do major 7 as well by raising that upper fret.
Yeah.
So that's G major 7, but you've also got G7.
Yeah, nice. I've not seen it played that way before.
Yeah, so the last 2 available in the open position, you have C7, which will use all 4 fingers.
Yeah.
And then the other one is a B7, which is like this.
Nice.
And you can, if you want, you can take your pinky off.
Yeah.
Do that.
So that's the A major 7 shape, isn't it? But just sort of lifted up one higher.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So just, I guess, just some notes on that before we go on for me. Like, just a couple of useful things to consider there. Is that C7 shape that Jack showed there? That's a movable shape. So, I mean, I guess, you know, lots of these things can be moved, but I found that one a very useful shape to learn. It's a C chord, but just with that extra finger on there, because that can then become a D7, an E7, an F7, and so on and so on. It's a really handy, movable shape to know, I think, that particular one. All right, mate, should we wrap up with some minor 7s?
Yes, yeah. So again, E minor 7, just one finger, which is great.
Yeah.
You'd also have A minor 7.
I think that might be my favourite chord, you know.
Whatever. Like,
Yeah, I
out of
think
all
it
the
might
chords,
be. Yeah. On a guitar, I think
Yeah.
A minor 7 might be my favourite chord.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I just love it more. Like, and it just fits so nicely with C chords.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can do that kind of rundown to it and so on. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
A minor 7 is one of my favourite chords.
Yeah. And then D minor 7, which would be like this. So I am barring over there as well. Some people will play it with 2 fingers.
Oh, that's weird.
Which is like not fun, no. The bar's much easier.
Alright, what if B minor 7?
Yes, you could do that, yeah.
Nice. B minor 7. Did we do them all? I think we did.
Yeah, there is like another one.
There's some variations on that. It's like you can
can't-
play an E minor 7 like that as well if you want.
Like the Wonderwall chord, yeah.
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 Also, you can play E minor 7 like that. I've seen it played that way.
Yeah. And I guess the last chord that you could do would be an F minor 7, which would literally be just that.
Very cool. And we're just playing those 4 strings there that you're barring out.
Yeah.
And of course the G minor 7 that we
Yeah.
touched on before. Oh yeah, of course that's a movable shape, isn't it? Yeah, we can G minor
just
7,
do that. Yeah.
A minor 7,
Yeah.
and so on. And so on.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, I think we've covered them. Major 7s, minor 7s, dominant 7s.
Yep.
We've covered them. Okay, hope you enjoyed that video. We've just rattled through those sort of basic open chord positions. In the next video, we're going to look at this from a slightly higher level, look at some more intermediate chords.